Okay. Guys, can you just confirm on the chat? I'm audible properly. Just confirm on the chat. Yes, no? Cool. Okay. So guys, my name is Hemu and I'm from the Skill Inspirational Academy. And today's we are here for the Palo Alto Firewall demo. So before starting the demo, let me just give you some details regarding this training. So guys, we are starting one batch on Palo Alto Firewall plus F5 Advanced WAF. And it's a combo batch. First, we will start your Palo Alto Firewall and guys, this particular classes will be happening on weekends in your Saturday and Sunday. And Palo Alto batch timing is 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. IST. And if guys, anyone interested for this training, you have to reach out to on this number. This is my number. And if you have any type of doubt, you have to basically write me on a WhatsApp, and either you can also able to call me on this particular number. Now let me just tell you what are the things we are going to cover in this particular training. So guys, your Palo Alto Firewall training is around 40 plus hours of training. Okay, means I need around 8 weekends for this particular training to complete. Means there are around total of 16 classes and each class of 3 hours. You will get the lifetime interview support, guys. If you will enroll for this training, and let's suppose you are having some interviews, you have to reach out to me, and I'll will guide you through the interview process on how, and I can take a mock interview as well, and I will basically just see what where you are lagging and what are the things you need to basically prepare. You will also get the lab workbook. You will get the recorded videos of each class with lifetime access through my video portal. I'm also going to help you with the lab setup in your laptop. Let's suppose your laptop is not having good resources like good RAM and the CPU. In that case, we will help you building the same lab over the Google Cloud platforms on the GCP platforms. Because if you will make a lab on GCP, that lab is valid for 90 days and it's free, guys. You just need a credit card. That's it. And after that 90 days period is over, what you can do, you can just create a new email ID and you can again make a lab. So that's how you can able to continue using the GCP. You don't need to purchase a good laptop. Weekends classes, guys, as I have mentioned already. And guys, during the classes, you can also ask any type of doubts if you are facing during the lab, and also if you are having any type of issue in your production environment. So these type of issue discussion also available. You will get the mock interview support from our side. So guys, these are the things which I'm going to cover in your training. Now let me just go through with the Palo Alto Firewall course content. What are the things I'm going to cover in your Palo Alto Firewall? So I'll just go through with the course content. So guys, if I will start explaining the course content. So guys, in the very first class, I am going to discuss regarding the platforms and the architecture of your Palo Alto Firewall. In the platforms, I am going to cover what are the hardware model available from the Palo Alto. Like we have a 200 series, then we have a 400 series. Recently, they have introduced this particular series. Then we have a 8000 series, right? Then they have a 3200 series, 3400 series is there. They do have a 3000 series, but that series is now end of sale and end of life, right? Then I will going to cover like 30 50 to 100 series. Then they have a 5400 series. These are the new devices, right? New series they have started. Then we have a 7000 series, then 7400 series. So I'm going to cover all the information with regards to the hardware models. Apart from these hardware models, Palo Alto do offer some type of virtual models as well, or VMs as well. These VMs you can able to install over the public cloud environments on over the private cloud environment like your AWS, Azure, GCP, Oracle, Alibaba, right? On these public cloud, we are going to spin the Palo Alto Firewall VM. So I'm going to cover what type of VMs we are having, what is the capacity of these VM, what is the major difference between hardware model and your virtual model. So I'll cover everything with regards to the platforms. And once this information is completed, I'm going through with the single pass architecture or the SP3 architecture of your Palo Alto firewall. Because due to this particular architecture, Palo Alto have this unique architecture, and due to this architecture, Palo Alto firewall throughput is very high. And now why like Palo Alto have this SP3 architecture? Why other vendor devices, they don't have this type of architecture, right? So I'm going to cover all these particular things in detail. Once we will complete that, I'll just move towards the flow logic, or I can say packet flow or life of a packet in the PAN-OS. So I'm going to cover detailed packet flow of your Palo Alto firewall according to the Palo Alto operating system 10 or 11. Nowadays, we are having the latest one is PAN-OS 11, but most of the organized, they are having 10.2.3. This is the one which is used by the peoples a lot because this is the most stable version. Okay, so I will basically cover your packet flow according to the PAN-OS 11 because they have done lots of changes in this PAN-OS 11. And also, if you will try to search the packet flow over the internet for Palo Alto, in internet, you will get a 10 years old document, which don't have the enough information. Once we will complete that, I'll move towards the initial configuration. In initial configuration, I'm going to cover how you can take the access of Palo Alto device with the help of console cable, or how you can connect a cable with the management port of your Palo Alto firewall. How you can configure the management interface, IP address, host name, NTP details, DNS details, everything. So all these things I'm going to cover in your initial configuration. How we can take the initial access of your Palo Alto firewall. What is the default username, default password, configure in your Palo Alto firewall, right? How we can do the management interface related configuration with the help of graphical user interface and with the help of CLI. I will also cover the licensing part. How we can basically do the licensing of Palo Alto firewall. What are the license offered by the Palo Alto firewall? Everything I'm going to cover here. Like what is threat prevention license, what is wildfire license, what is global protect gateway and portal license, right? Everything I'm going to cover. Then we will go through with the software updates, how we can manage the software updates, how we can do the scheduling, everything I'm going to cover. How we can do the software updates with the help of CLI and with the help of graphical user interface both. Once we will complete that, I'll just move towards the account administration. In account administration, I'm going to explain you how we can create a different accounts for L1 engineers, for L2 engineers, for L3 engineers, for developers, how we can do all these things, how we can create the role-based access for these particular peoples, how we can do the integration of your Palo Alto firewall using the radius authentication. We can integrate with your Cisco ICE, with your Aruba ClearPass if you are having, using the radius protocol. So these things I'm going to cover. Then I'll discuss your admin roles, how I can create a different types of admin roles for my team members. Let's suppose I want to put some restrictions for some people, like they will not able to access the in everything in your Palo Alto firewall. Like I want to restrict few part in your my Palo Alto firewall, then these things we can achieve with the help of admin roles. We can provide on like a read only access to your L1 engineers. They can only able to config, they can only able to do the config backup and other things, right? So these things we are going to discuss here. Then once we will complete that, I'll just move towards the interface configuration, where we will do the configuration in your interfaces. How we can do the interface configuration. Here we will discuss what is L2 interface, what is L3 interface, what is your tap mode interface, what is your virtual wire interface, what is the interface type for HA, what is the decryption mirror interfaces, everything we are going to cover here. And after that, I will cover the concept of security zones. What is inside, outside, trust, untrust, DMZ, how we can create these type of zones with the help of graphical user interface, with the help of CLI both. Then I'll discuss the concept of sub interfaces. I'll discuss how we can enable, how we can configure the DSCP related configuration in your Palo Alto Firewall, how we can make Palo Alto as a DSCP server, how we can make Palo Alto as a DSCP client, how we can configure the DSCP relay setting in your Palo Alto Firewall, right? So all these things I will cover here. Once I'll complete that, I'll move towards your virtual router configuration. In virtual router, we are going to discuss how we can create a virtual routers. Because in your Palo Alto Firewall, if you want to enable the routing functionality, we have to go with the virtual router concept. How we can do the static route configuration, how we can configure the policy based forwarding PVF, or I can say PVR, how we can enable the ECMP equal cost multipathing, how we can configure the path monitoring, everything I'm going to cover in your virtual router session. I will also go through with the multi-VR setup and use cases. And even though guys, I have uploaded lots of videos on this virtual later, like how we can configure OSPF protocol in your Palo Alto Firewall, how we can configure the BGP in your Palo Alto Firewall, how we can enable the RIP in your Palo Alto Firewall, how we can do the route distribution. So these type of videos is already I have created. And guys, for these labs, I will use this type of lab topology. Here you can see I have my Palo Alto Firewall. I have my ISP1 router, then ISP2 router, right? So here we will see the concept of dual ISP. Here I have one more router, internet router, then we have a server, and from here I get the internet connection as well. I will basically connect this router with my Wi-Fi adapter. I have my DMZ zone, DMZ1 and DMZ2. I have my inside zone where I have few routers and I have two PCs like test PC1 and test PC2, where we will do all the static route related configuration. Even though on your RIP, OSPF and BGP, I will provide the pre-recorded videos with all the CLI commands. Let's back to the course content again. And after that, guys, I will go through with your multi-VR setup, where I am going to cover, let's suppose we have created two virtual router like VR01 and VR02. How we can basically allow the communication, or how we can allow the routing between these two VR. What is the use case for multi-VR setup? So this part I am going to cover. Once these routing related topic has been completed, I will move towards the next topic, which is your security policy and your net policies, where I'm going to cover how we can do the, how we can create a security policies, how we can do the administration for your security policies, how we can create a net rules, how how we can configure the dynamic net, how we can configure the port address translation, how we can configure the destination net, right? In destination net, I am going to cover all the use cases, how we can configure the U-turn net, right? Everything I'm going to cover in your net class. And once these topics will complete, I will go through with your app ID topic. Here we will see how Palo Alto Firewall do the application identification. What is the app ID overview? What is application groups? What is filters? Here I will create a filters on the basis of risk level, on the basis of technology, right? Like I will create a filter for risk level 5 application. I will create a filter for media streaming application, and we are going to basically block these risk level 5 application. And after that, we will do the whitelisting as well. Let's suppose your Google Drive, this particular application comes under the risk level 5. And let's suppose we are using this Google Drive for some business purpose, then we need to do the whitelisting, right? So these type of whitelisting I am going to do. I will create application groups as well, where I will group like your YouTube, Netflix, and Prime videos, right? And I am going to allow, I am going to block them. So these things we are going to discuss here. Here I will also cover the topic of application override, application shift, how we can create a custom application, right? So all these topics I'm going to cover in your app ID. And here I will also give you the advanced level information on app ID, like how Palo Alto Firewall do the application identification for TCP packets, for UDP packets, everything. Once I'll complete that, I'll move towards your content identification topic. In content ID, we will see how we can configure the antivirus protection profile in your Palo Alto Firewall, where I will try to download some type of virus from the internet, and we will see my Palo Alto Firewall is blocking, and it is providing the protection from the virus code. So I will download some malicious virus from the internet, and we will see these things practically. Then I will try to explain you how Palo Alto Firewall is going to protect us from the spywares. And I will try to basically download some type of spyware from the internet. And we will see firewall is going to block. Then we will discuss the vulnerability protection. And this vulnerability protection, what I will do, I will try to launch some type of attack from my Kali Linux machine, because I have a Kali Linux machine. From that Linux machine, I will launch the brute force type of attack. I will do the scanning of my network, and I will try to exploit some type of vulnerabilities on my Windows AD server. So we will see these live attacks here basically in your vulnerability protection class. Then I will discuss your URL filtering, where we will try to block all the adult website, all the hacking related website, right? So these type of practicals I'm going to cover in your URL filtering. I will also create a custom URLs. I will also explain you the concept of external dynamic list, where we can fetch the URL details, how Palo Alto Firewall is going to do the URL filtering. What is the management plane URL cache? What is the data plane URL cache, right? How it will do the cloud lookup for that? What are the daemons involved in your URL filtering? Everything I'm going to cover in your URL filtering class. Once I will complete that, I will go through with the wild file blocking and wildfire feature of your Palo Alto Firewall, because this wildfire feature protects us from the unknown malwares, or the malwares which are very, very new. And my Palo Alto Firewall is not having any type of signature, right? So we will see how we can configure this wildfire. What is the wildfire operation, right? What is the verdict provided by the Palo Alto Firewall for the files, right? So everything I'm going to cover in your wildfire. I will also cover your file blocking, because guys, your network diagrams, generally we create your network diagrams in a Visio format, right? We have some type of Word document, some type of Office document, right? And there are some type of exe file, bat file, right? If someone trying to upload or download these type of files, we can control everything with the help of file blocking. Means we can upload, we can block the uploading of the files, we can block the downloading of the files. Means we can able to control the files in our infrastructure by using the file blocking profile in your Palo Alto Firewall. Once we complete that, and after it, I'll just go with your zone protection and DOS protection class. In zone protection and DOS protection class, I am going to cover how we can basically protect from the network attacks, like your TCP SYN flood attack. We have a UDP flood attack. We have a ICMP flood attack. How we can basically protect from these type of attack. If someone is trying to do the IP spoofing attack, how we can basically protect with the help of zone protection and DOS protection profile. So these things I'm going to cover. And guys, these are the live attacks which I'm going to launch. Once I'll complete that, I'll go through with your SSL decryption. Here first, I'll go through with the SSL handshake in detail. how the SSL handshake happens with the help of Wireshark captures and other things. And once you become familiar with the SSL handshake, I'll go through with the certificate management, the architecture of your certificates. And once you understand the certificate, like what is root certificate, what is intermediate certificate, what is identity certificate. Once you have the idea of these, I will basically going to explain what is outbound SSL decryption and how this outbound SSL decryption is implemented inside the PAN-OS. What is the SSL engine for that? Like, because Palo Alto Firewall have a dedicated SSL engine. So how that engine is going to process the packet? What is the concept of FPTCP segments here? So all these particular things I'm going to cover in detail. Then we are going to discuss inbound SSL decryption. What is SHH decryption? Because nowadays people are launching attack with the help of SHH tunnels, and how we can basically protect us from these particular SHH tunnels actually. So how we can enable the SHH decryption as well. Once we will complete that, I'll move towards the user ID class, where we are going to see how we can basically create a user based policies, how we can do the active directory integration, how we can create a user to IP mapping, how we can basically install the user ID agent, how we can create a users to group mapping. So all these particular things I am going to cover in your user ID. And also guys, in this user ID session, I am going to tell you, if you just need a user to IP mapping, then what are the configurations you need to do? If you want to basically use your, if you want to use your AD username for the global protect authentication and all, right? In that case, what is the configuration you need to do? So everything we are going to discuss here. Here we will see the LDAP integration as well. Once your user ID will complete, I'll move towards your site-to-site VPN. In your site-to-site VPN, I will basically give you the advanced level overview of your phase 1 and phase 2 message exchange. And also guys, in this particular session, I will also explain you how we can run the advanced level debugging in the IKE manager daemon of your Palo Alto Firewall to basically explain you this particular phase 1 and phase 2 exchange. And even though I will also do the decryption of your messages, like I will do the decryption of your ESP packets. I will do the decryption of your ISACAM messages, because these ISACAM message number 5 onwards, they will start encryption, right? So I will show you how we can decrypt them. And after that, how we can decrypt this ESP messages, how we can basically get the keys for that. What is SKID E, SKID A, and SKID D, right? How these keys is created, how DH exchange key is created, everything I'm going to cover. And guys, I have mentioned here around 13 use cases. So I will try to cover around 2 use cases, and for the remaining use cases, I will provide the recorded videos, because on these videos, I have covered all type of configuration for that. So it will basically cover everything with regards to the IPsec site-to-site VPN. Once we will complete the IPsec site-to-site VPN, I'll go through with the global protect. In global protect, I will go through with the global protect connection flow. And if you know the connection flow, you can able to troubleshoot any type of issues in the Palo Alto Firewall for global protect related things. I will also go through with the global protect connection method. What is the user logon method? What is on demand method? What is pre-logon then on demand? What is pre-logon then user logon, right? All these type of method I'm going to cover in detail. Once I complete that, I will also going to explain you how we can basically do the integration with syslog server, how we can do the integration with NetFlow, what is the log types, dashboard, basic logging, reporting. Panorama is not there, guys. I used to take around 1 session on my previous batches for Panorama, but now I have removed this Panorama. Once I'll complete that, I'll go through with the high availability topic in your Palo Alto Firewall, where we will see active passive HA, configuration of active passive HA. And also here I'm going to cover the advanced level implementation of HA in your PAN-OS, like how we can take the debug of your HA agent daemon. What is the PAN DHA daemon? PAN DFA daemon in your Palo Alto Firewall, and how these daemon basically maintain the logic of the high availability. So everything I'm going to cover in detail. Then I will cover your active high availability as well. And in your active high availability, we will see the floating IP HA lab, ARP load share HA lab, and mixed mode HA lab. Once I'll complete that, I'll go through with some of the troubleshooting webinars as well, where I will show you how we can take the help of packet filters and your global counters to troubleshoot the issues. And if we are not able to troubleshoot that issue with the help of packet filter and global counters, then how we can do the packet captures. If we are not able to troubleshoot the issue with the help of packet captures, then how we can run the flow basic, the advanced level or the advanced level utilities for the troubleshooting in your PAN-OS. So these are the things I'm going to cover in this particular class, and I will also explain you how we can run the TCP dump to capture the packets in the management interface of your Palo Alto Firewall. So these are the things which I'm going to cover with regards to the Palo Alto Firewall, and what are the things is mentioned in your course content. Everything I will cover with the help of some practicals. And guys, in most of the time, around 70 to 80%, I used to do the practicals, 20% I used to do the theory. And guys, for most of the practicals, I'm having the different type of lab topology. So now let me just go through with the lab topology which I'm going to use in your trainings. So guys, if you will see this particular lab topology, this lab topology I will use for your static routing, path monitoring, policy based forwarding, ECMP, dual ISP. So guys, this is the lab which I am going to use for these particular purpose. Your path monitoring, everything I'm going to cover using this particular lab. I'll go here, your high availability. Now let me just open this one, and your IPsec VPN related labs. I'm going to use this lab topology where I have my firewall Palo Alto Firewall in head office, and I have two firewalls. These are the Palo Alto 2 and 3 in the branch offices, like branch office 1 and branch office 2. And here also we have our 2 ISPs, guys. Or I can say 3 ISPs, even though I have one ASA as well. So like this is, and I do have a ASA firewall here as well at the customer end. So guys, this particular lab topology I am going to use for your IPsec VPN related practicals, and using this lab, you can able to simulate almost all your practicals, all your use cases mentioned on my course content. So this is the lab which I'm going to use for IPsec VPNs. Then I have your HA lab. This is the lab topology which I'm going to use for your high availability related practicals, where I have my firewall 1 and firewall 2. And these two firewalls we will put in your HA. And this particular topology we will use for active passive and active lab both. I have my outside switch and I have my inside switch, and I will use these two routers as a host or as a like test machines. And this switch have a connectivity with the internet, so we can test everything with the internet actually. Now there is a one more lab. This is the one, and guys, around 70% practicals I can simulate on this particular lab, because this is a pretty simple lab where I have my Palo Alto firewall. This firewall have a connectivity with the internet cloud here, and on outside I have one test machine. I have one router, and this test machine is a Kali Linux machine, guys. So all type of your attacks, like your brute force attack, your network is scanning attacks, your IP spoofing attack, your TCP SYN flood, UDP flood attack, ISIM flood attack, I am going to launch from this machine. And I have these two hosts here, test PC1 and test PC2. This is a Active Directory server. So I will launch all the attack on this particular AD server. I do have my DMZ where I have these three servers. On these servers, I will configure SHS, Telnet, and the HTTP services. And these three servers we will use for providing the access of these server to the outside peoples. And for that, we will configure all type of your destination net related practicals. And I do have a separate management environment here. This is my separate management network. So this is the another lab topology. And guys, this lab topology I will also use for your global protect practicals. This topology I will also use for user ID practicals. Okay. Apart from that, guys, I do have some other labs as well. Like if you want to configure the BGP related practicals, I have created this lab topology for BGP practicals, right? And I'm going to share everything. I will give you these topologies so you can also able to practice the things. And if you want to practice the redistribution related things, this is the redistribution lab, right? So you can basically use this particular lab as well. So I will give you the access of all these lab topologies so you can utilize them. So guys, these are the labs which I am going to use on my training. Now let me just go through with one of the topic, like next generation firewall versus legacy firewalls, or what I can do, because I don't have much time today. So let me just cover the Palo Alto firewall architecture. We will go through with this Palo Alto architecture session so you can able to understand how we are going to provide the trainings, guys. Okay, so let me just go through with that. Just give me 1 second. Let me just clear it up. Because there are so many things are available. So let me just clean little bit. And guys, I'm audible properly to everyone. Just confirm on the chat meanwhile. Are you able to see my screen? Any lag on my voice? Okay, cool. Okay, cool, guys. So if I will tell you, let me just tell you what generally people ask in the interview. And guys, if you are going for any type of Palo Alto Firewall interview, they are going to ask this particular question. Can you explain the SP3 architecture? This is the question which is asked by the in most of the interview, or maybe they ask in this way. Can you just explain the Palo Alto Firewall architecture? Or they will ask, what is SP3 architecture? So first of all, SP3 is a combination of two things. SP3 is a combination of two things, which is single pass software and parallel processing hardware. So this is the full form of your SP3, single pass software and parallel processing hardware. Now let's try to understand the parallel processing hardware first. So if I will explain you the parallel processing hardware, which means what used to happen, Palo Alto Firewall hardware is divided into two parts. Jay, I'll just take your question in some time, okay? In VM, I will tell you how they do the parallel processing thing, okay? Let me just complete first. So, Palo Alto Firewall hardware is divided into two parts. First part is known as control plane, or according to me, this plane is a management plane. And the second part of your Palo Alto Firewall is known as data plane, DP. So we have a management plane in your firewall and we have a data plane. And guys, this management plane, it has a dedicated resources. It has a dedicated Intel CPU. It has a dedicated RAM. It has a dedicated SSD. Means it has a resource. These are the resources which are dedicated for your management plane. And this management plane has some dedicated responsibilities. Means in your Palo Alto Firewall, your configuration management is a task of management plane. Your reporting is a task of management plane. Your log management, all type of logging. These are the few tasks of your management plane. Apart from that, now we have a data plane. Now, generally guys, this data plane of your Palo Alto Firewall is responsible for the users traffic or the traffic which is coming from your servers, from users, because all your data ports have a connectivity with the data plane. Now this data plane is further divided into three another planes. We have a network processor, we have a security processor, and we have a signature match processor or pattern match processor. So these are the three processors we are having in your Palo Alto Firewall: network processor, security processor, and your signature match processor. Means Palo Alto Firewall have divided its data plane into three another planes. And guys, these three planes, they have a dedicated task to do, and these particular processor, they have a dedicated resources as well. Means they are not going to share any type of RAM, any type of CPU. No, they have the dedicated resources. And if I will go here a little bit down, if I'll go a little bit down in this particular picture, this picture is visible to everyone, guys. Just confirm on the chat. In this picture, if you will see, we have a data plane, and this data plane is divided into three another planes, right? Network processor, security processor, and your signature match processor. And guys, these processor, they have a dedicated resources, dedicated RAM, dedicated CPU, dedicated RAM, dedicated CPU, dedicated RAM, and dedicated CPU. And guys, these are the FPGA. This is a FPGA, field programmable gateway array, and this is also a FPGA. And guys, I can say these are the dedicated chip or dedicated hardware chip inside your Palo Alto Firewall, which is designed by the Intel for the Palo Alto devices only. And guys, because Palo Alto have divided its plane, this data plane, into three another planes, and they don't have any type of resource level dependency, which means maybe let's suppose we have received some packets. Let's say we have received three packets: packet number 1, packet number 2, and packet number 3. So in your Palo Alto Firewall, what used to happen, maybe packet number 1 processing is happening at the signature match processor. Packet number 2 may be processed by the security processor, or maybe packet number 3 is processed by the network processor. Means All these particular processors, they are doing the parallel processing in your packets. They are not like it's not like that first your packet processed by this, then it will go here, then it will go here. Means they can able to basically do the processing at the same time for these three packets. That is known as the parallel processing hardware architecture of your Palo Alto Firewall, because Palo Alto Firewall divided its hardware into three another planes. And apart from that, as you can see, we have a dedicated control plane responsible for your config management, logging, and reporting. It has a dedicated CPU, dedicated RAM, dedicated SSD, and the dedicated management port and high availability port. And your control plane or your data plane, we have a network processor where all your data interfaces are available. Okay, and each processor, this signature match processor, is responsible for content ID related task and your app ID related task. Means the layer 7 inspection inside your Palo Alto firewall is done by the signature match processor. Your security processor is responsible for layer 2 to layer 4 task. Plus, this security processor have a dedicated SSL engine who will basically do the SSL decryption related task. Your SSL inbound decryption, SSL outbound decryption, all these tasks done by the security processor. We have a dedicated component for that SSL engine. Your IPsec engine is also there who will take care of the IPsec VPN related task. We have a decompression engine or chip. That particular decompression engine will do the compression related task. And guys, this particular security processor is responsible for enforcement of your security policies, your net policies, everything. Your session setup, your routing related tasks, your net related tasks, all these things done by the security processor. We have a network processor. This network processor is used for session offloading, guys. It is a session offloader. And in each Palo Alto hardware, we don't have this network processor. Network processor is available in the high-end boxes like 5000 series, 5200 series, 5400 series, 7000 series, 7400 series. And this particular processor is only going to process the session which is offloaded by the security processor. Okay. Now, let's back to here. Now, if you will see in this particular diagram, what used to happen, because we have divided the data plane and your management plane separately. So guys, generally just tell me one thing. Let's suppose there is a one hacker community and they have launched some type of attack. So generally this attack, if they have launched this attack, where you will, according to you, where they are going to launch the attack, in your data plane or in your management plane? Where? Write on the chat. This attack will be in your management plane or will be on data plane? Mostly it's on data plane. Mostly it's on data plane. So guys, if somebody has launched any DDoS attack in your data plane, now your data plane is choked. What you can do, but your management plane is safe. You can log in into the management plane and you can do the configuration to basically prevent from this type of attack. So this type of benefit also you will get due to this particular architecture, due to this parallel processing architecture. Apart from that, let's suppose there is some process. Let's suppose there is a one daemon called pen task. This is a daemon, or there is a daemon called supervisor. These are the some processes which are available in your data plane. Or there is a daemon called MP relay. These are the daemons which are available in your data plane. Let's suppose this pan task daemon is responsible for processing all the packet which we will receive in the Palo Alto Firewall data interfaces. Okay. Now let's suppose this pan task daemon is not working fine. What we generally used to do, if let's say there is some process which are not working fine in your Palo Alto Firewall, we used to reboot the device, right? But here we don't need to reboot. What we can do, we can just reboot the data plane. We don't need to reboot the entire box. So this type of benefit also you will get due to this particular architecture. Let's suppose there are some processes which are not working fine in your management plane. We don't need to reboot the entire box. You can just reboot that particular process itself in your management plane. So that type of benefit also you will get due to this type of architecture. Now guys, let me just go a little bit advanced here. Now let me just draw the advanced level diagram for the same thing. How the actual diagram looks like. So in your Palo Alto Firewall, what used to happen generally? We have the interface stack here. And guys, I'll take your questions after some time. Okay, let me just complete that part first. I'll give the time for Q&A, don't worry. If I will start explaining here, it will break some flow, guys. Okay. So generally what used to, let's suppose we have all these interfaces. Ethernet 1x1, 1x2, 1x3, 1x4, 1x5, 1x6, 1x7, 1x8. Let's suppose I have these 8 interfaces and these are the copper ports. Let me write down, these are the copper ports. And after that, in this box, I do have some fiber ports as well. Ethernet 1x9, 1x10, 1x11, and 1x12. These are the SFP plus ports. Or I can say these are my fiber ports. So what used to happen in actual, these particular interfaces, these per interface board or module have a connectivity with the chip called Marvel. And apart from that Marvel chip, we do have one more chip inside your Palo Alto Firewall called Petra chip. So guys, your copper ports, they have a connectivity directly with this Marvel chip. And if you have a SFP plus ports, these ports have a connectivity with the Petra chip. This Marvel chip or Petra chip is also known as switch fabric. This is also known as a switch fabric. And guys, now this chip will have a connectivity with one more chip inside your Palo Alto Firewall called, in low end boxes you will see the chip called Liger, and high end box you will see the chip called Tiger, and this chip is known as network processor. And this network processor is a FPGA, field programmable gateway array. This particular processor is known as network processor. This network processor is used for the session offloading. So this is a session offloader. And Marvel chip and Petra chip, they have a connectivity this particular processor by using these particular links. These are the fiber links, and the name of these links is joy links. After that, this particular processor have a connectivity with one more processor called DP-CPU. Or here we have a Octeon chip. Oction chip is known as DP CPU, data plane CPU. And guys, this will also have a connectivity with this particular join links. And guys, this data plane CPU is going to do the packet processing according to the life of a packet inside your PAN OS. Okay. And after that, this particular data plane CPU has a connectivity with one more chip called Jaguar chip. This Jaguar chip is also known as signature match processor. Signature match processor or pattern match processor, and they also have a connectivity like that. So your Oction chip will do the task with regards to L2 to L4. This particular chip is responsible for doing your app ID task and your content ID related task. These tasks is done by the Jaguar chip. So this is the advanced level architecture of your Palo Alto firewall. And guys, what used to happen in this particular Jaguar chip, there is a two algorithms called DFA and one more algorithm called AHO. So this AHO algorithm is responsible for your content ID related task, and your DFA algorithm is responsible for your app ID related task. And nowadays this AHO is replaced with the PScan algorithm. So your antivirus protection, your protection from the virus, from the spyware, from the vulnerabilities, file policies, wildfire, everything is done by the Jaguar chip with the help of these particular chips. And guys, this type of architecture is applied for the hardware box. Okay. In virtual VMs or into virtual machine, what used to happen? They have this type of architecture, but they have the segregation at the software level. There is no segregation at the hardware level. They just have a segregation at the software level. Okay. So that's how the architecture looks like for the Palo Alto firewall. And guys, if you want to see the exact details of this architecture, let me just open. I have one more diagram here. Yeah, this is the one. If you will see this particular diagram, this diagram you will find over the internet as well. In this diagram, you will see I have the switch fabric where I have the Petra chip, right? Now this particular Petra chip has a connectivity with the network processor where we have a Tiger chip. And network processor can also process the packet, means it can able to understand the layer 3, layer 2 and layer 4 information from the packet, means it can able to apply your security policies, it can able to apply your net translation, it can do the routing related task as well. Okay, means it will only going to process these session which are offloaded by the Oction chip, and this particular chip is known as Oction chip, guys. This is your Oction chip. It is also known as security processor or data plane CPU. And here we have a dedicated SSL engine, IPsec engine and decompression engine. And after that, we have a signature match processor where we have a Jaguar chip. And we have a dedicated, we have here dedicated management plane where it's a multi-core Intel CPU. We have a dedicated RAM and dedicated SSD. And here also you can see we have a dedicated RAM and we have a multi-core CPU. And guys, this is the like old generation firewall, which is 5000 series. Now, if I will take the example of 5200 series, here you have a 3 chips like DP0 CPU, data plane 1 CPU, and data plane 3 CPU. And your actual SP3 architecture is applied here at this particular box, which is your 5000 series or your 7000 series boxes, because in these boxes, these particular, they have a multiple data plane CPU. And guys, let's say we have received multiple packets. Maybe some packet is processed by this particular CPU. Few of the packet is processed by this CPU and few of the packet processed by this CPU. Means now all these CPU, they are doing the parallel processing. And even though in high-end boxes, you will see the 2 Jaguar chip as well, 2 signature match processor, which will take care of your layer 7 inspection, your app ID and content ID related task. So guys, this is the architecture, or this is the SP3 architecture, or this is the parallel processing architecture of your Palo Alto firewall. Now let me just explain you the single pass software. What do you understand with this single pass software? Single pass software. In single pass software, what used to happen? Guys, your single pass software is applied at the content engine basically. Means when your packet is reached into the Jaguar chip, in this Jaguar chip, your single pass software is applied in actual. So what used to happen? What used to happen generally? Let's suppose this is your Jaguar chip. This is your signature match processor. Now, guys, this signature match processor is responsible for your antivirus protection, anti-spyware protection, vulnerability protection, URL filtering, your wildfire protection, your file blocking, your data protection, right? All these type of protection is taken care by the signature match processor. So what used to happen? How they generally used to do that particular protection? With the help of signatures, right? Means what used to happen? In your signature match processor or in your Jaguar chip, it has a signatures for viruses, for spyware, for vulnerabilities, for URLs. It has a URL database, right? For wildfire signature it is having, right? So what used to happen? All these engines like your antivirus signatures available here. Your antivirus, anti-spyware signatures available here. Your vulnerability signatures available here. Your wildfire signatures available here. Your URL filtering cache is available here. So what used to happen? It used to receive a packet, and what it used to do, it used to receive only the layer 7 information from the packet, because your signature match processor is only going to do the inspection at layer 7. It will not able to understand your layer 2 and layer 3 or layer 4 information from the packet. Only layer 7 information your Octeon chip is going to send to the signature match processor or to your Jaguar chip. Now once he will receive this layer 7 information, it used to store that information into the memory locations. So let's suppose in these particular memory location, it has just stored that particular layer 7 information. It has stored that information. So what used to happen in actual, all these particular antivirus signatures, anti-spyware signatures, they will load that information from that memory location together at the same time. And they will just provide the result if there is any type of virus, any type of spyware or any type of vulnerability available. And after that, that result is passed to your data plane CPU, which is also known as your security processor or your Octeon chip. So because you know the processing of your layer 7 information is happening just in one go. All these particular tasks is done by the Palo Alto 5 just in one go. That is the reason, because you know here it is doing the processing at the same time together. So that's your single pass architecture. Here it's not like that, like first it will send the packet through antivirus, then packet revert, then it will go for anti spyware, then for vulnerabilities, then for wildfire. It's not like that. in one go, all the things are happening. So that is the single pass software of the Palo Alto Firewall. Now, let me just explain the multipass architecture, what used to happen with the multipass architecture. So guys, so if you want to know about the multipass architecture, first we will try to understand the Cisco security portfolio. So guys, if I'll go back around 5 years back or 10 years back or like 7 years back, what used to happen? Cisco have some devices, right? Cisco have a device called Cisco ASA for the firewall perspective. This ASA can able to inspect the packet on the basis of layer 3 and layer 4 information, right? We can able to create a security policies, or we can able to create a access control list on ASA, means layer 3 to layer 4 protection we will get on this ASA. Now, if you want a solution, like if you want a protection like antivirus, anti-spyware or vulnerability, what you need to do? You have to purchase one more solution called IPS from the Palo Alto, from the Cisco. In that case, let's suppose you have introduced one more device called IPS here in your network. Now, let's suppose you want again some solution called URL filtering. In that case, you have to purchase one more solution called WSA, Web Security Appliance from the Cisco. If you need some like WSA, this is also a WSA. Now, if you need any type of solution from the malware perspective, in that case, you have to purchase one more solution from Cisco, which is Cisco AMP, Advanced Malware Protection, right? This was the architecture, or this was the network diagram. Previously, we have the ASA, we have the firewall, then we have the IPS, then we have the WSA, then we have the AMP, then we have the some other security solution like proxy. We can think about the proxy like your any proxy solution like Zscaler. Okay, what used to happen generally, if there is a one person who is sitting here and he is accessing this particular network, what is going to happen now? When he will access this network, he will forward this packet. First, ASA firewall is going to process the packet. It will take some time. Then your IPS is going to process the packet. Then your WSA is going to process the packet. Then your AMP is going to do the packet processing. And after that, your packet is reaching. Means now here, my packet is basically going through multiple devices. And if it will go through these multiple devices, what will happen? It will add some delay. It will introduce some type of delay, right? And also because when these devices, they will going to do the packet processing, they need some time, right? This device will take own time, this device will take own time, this device will take own time. So it will add some delay, it will add some processing delay. So that was the issue people were facing. And guys, when Palo Alto launched in 2005, Palo Alto was the first firewall who is offering all these type of solutions just in one box. Means within the same box, you will get the firewall features, you will get the IPS functionality, you will get the URL filtering, you will get the user ID, you will get the app ID, all these features just inside the one box. So what Cisco did after that, Cisco will also have introduced one more device called FTD, Firepower Threat Defense. And how they have created this FTD, if I will tell you the architecture of FTD. So what they did, they just take out the ASA code. This is the ASA code. And ASA code is known as Lena. This is the name of ASA engine. I can say ASA code. Now on top of this ASA code, what they did, they have added the IPS code. Let me just go in this way. On top of this ASA, they have added the IPS functionality. This IPS code is known as SNOT inside the Cisco portfolio. And after that, on top of that, what they did, they have introduced, they have just take some part of WSA for the URL filtering related task. So guys, what they have done, what Cisco have done, they have not designed the operating system from scratch. What they did, they just take the ASA code. On top of that ASA code, they added the IPS code, and on top of that, they have added the WSA code. So what used to happen? When the packet is received on the ASA firewall, or when the packet is received by the FTD, what used to happen? That packet will reach to the ASA. ASA will do the processing, and after that, this packet come back and again go towards the URL filtering, which is WSA. Then it will go for the IPS functionalities. Then it will go for your antivirus policies. What is happening here? Means now my packet is going one after the other, right? One by one, it is going through for the processing. So due to that, it will add some delay. And guys, that's the multi-pass architecture. It's not a single pass architecture, guys. So that's a multi-pass architecture. So that is the main reason other vendor devices throughput in comparison to Palo Alto is very less. Palo Alto device throughput is very, very high, guys. So guys, these are this is the topic which I am going to cover with regards to your demo. Now, let me just tell you some more details. So guys, this particular batch, as we have mentioned, I'm starting from 27th of May. Enrollment is going on, guys, and your class will happen 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. IST. And the fees for Palo Alto alone is 7,000 INR. For the international student, fees is 100 USD. And if you will enroll for Palo Alto plus Advance Web, then you have to pay 12,000 INR for Indian students, and for the international student fees is 200 USD. And guys, first I will complete your Palo Alto. Once your Palo Alto will complete, we will start your F5 Advanced Web classes. And guys, the prerequisite for F5 Advanced Web, you should have a knowledge of F5 LTM. So guys, this is the information which I want to basically discuss in your today's session. Now let's have the Q&A part. So let me just stop the recording.